Just as consistently as a clock ticking on the wall, another rapper died too soon. I'm very sorry to say that a rapper out of the West Coast by the name of Drakeo The Ruler was stabbed in the neck during a fight in LA and met his maker a little bit early. I want to talk to you guys about some of that. And without in any way disparaging what happened to this young brother, first of all, I want to give RIP to his family, Drakeo The Ruler. I listened to his music. I didn't know about him before this incident, but I checked out some of his music, and his music was good. You know, he's talented. And I can tell you, at the stage that I'm at with the things that I've seen, I've just kind of seen this before. I've seen this is a story that I've seen played out 100,000 times, and it just makes me sad. So let's get started. Let's break it down. Let's talk about this a little bit. First of all, I want to welcome everybody. Welcome to drboycetv.com, the home for intelligent Black people. If you are part of the B1 crew, put your hashtag B1. I see Terry Cobb. My name is Corey. Good to see you. Danny Dreadnought. Danny makes a good point. Danny says that somewhere out there, DJ Vlad is rubbing his hands like Birdman. So, in case you're wondering what Danny means, he means that is there something that we've talked about this, on Wednesday nights when we cover Dr. Claude Answer's book, Black Labor, White Wealth. We talk about the fact that Black death is profitable. Black death is always profitable. And so, dead rappers, unfortunately, it's become all too common. I mentioned to you guys, and a lot of you were surprised to hear this, but over 200 rappers died last year. In the last year, how many of y'all knew that? Give me a yes or no if you knew that 200 rappers died last year. I couldn't believe it when I saw the statistic. And these are mostly black men. These are mostly black men going down. And there's some systematic patterns happening here that we should pay attention to. And before we dig into that, though, let me hit the thumbs up button. Let me go ahead and sort of give you some background on his brother. Drakeo The Ruler, he was born in 1993, so he's about 28 years old. He died just this week or today, December 19th. And he was an American rapper and songwriter based in LA. He was best known for his unique flow, as well as his oddly expressive poetic word choices, leading the LA Times to call him, quote, the most original West Coast stylist in decades. That's a hell of a compliment. That's a hell of a compliment. He's about to perform, actually. He was actually at a concert that was featuring 50 Cent, Snoop Dogg. I think I could have sworn I heard Dr. Dre, but maybe I was wrong. I know Snoop Dogg and I saw the word 50 Cent. I did not know 50 Cent was still rapping, to be honest with you. But Drakeo The Ruler was about to perform, and apparently there was a fight, and he was stabbed, and it was kind of messed up. So here's what I kind of want to do, right? Obviously, there's the RIP, right? The RIP to everybody affected. You know, the brother was active as an artist. I read his bio, read his background. He did some time in jail, but that's nothing to hold against him. A lot of our black men have gone to jail. We know this. A lot of y'all in this room have relatives who've been hit by the criminal justice system on some level. So I don't think that that's a reason to write somebody off, but it is a reason to write Joe Biden off, if you ask me. I mean, I don't know how anybody else feels, but I ain't voting. I'm not voting for the guy. I mean, you lock up a million black people and you still got Negroes out here begging to support this guy. That really shows how weak you are. That honestly speaks to how disrespected we are because we don't stand up for nothing. They done came in and took away a million of your men, locked them up, and you still looking for forgiveness. They got that Jesus virus in you real good. I'm not saying Jesus is bad. My mama loved Jesus. I love Jesus too. But God, I mean, come on, man, come on. I mean, you have to have some sort of self respect at some point. So anyway, with this brother, Draco the Ruler, his situation was, unfortunately, a lot of it was predictable. We knew a rapper was going to die this week. Just know that damn near every week, at least one rapper is going to die. Like this is going to continue for a very long time, and they're typically going to be taken out in a culture that was really started mostly in the early '90s, about the time Draco was born. So he was born into this. He was born into this. His brother's 28 years old. About 90, 91, 92 is about when hip hop became real deadly for black men. It's when it became a real terrible industry to be in. And you had in the '80s a lot of drugs that the CIA was putting in black communities with the deliberate effort to destroy black families. A lot of people were killed over drugs. A lot of people were sent to prison over drugs. A lot of people were traumatized because they had to sit there and watch their loved ones get killed and get sent to prison over drugs. A lot of people were being addicted to the drugs. So it was drugs, 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 drugs. So now what you have years later is you have drugs that the drug culture has kind of taken over your music. The drug culture has taken over your music. So the music is the most influential thing in the black community. The music spreads like a psychological virus. And basically what they did was they said, let's find the thing that black people love the most and let's poison it. Let's poison the thing that black people love the most. Well, why would they do that? Well, because they needed young boys like Drakeo or whoever to fill up the penitentiaries. So as a result, just like sheep being led to slaughter, black men are sent to prison at an extraordinary, astronomical, genocidal rate. A genocidal rate. Everybody type the word genocide so you can understand. So you can let me know that you understand. I need to take my time when I say this because you become so immune to seeing black people die that you don't think it's a bad thing. You just you say your RIP and you keep it moving. So everybody type the word. Let's take a moment of silence and let's really reflect on the word genocide. Genocide. Everybody type genocide in the chat. And while you do that, and hit the thumbs up button, please do that if you could. We'd love your support on the channel. I'm gonna search for the word genocide. I'm gonna look up the definition of genocide, and let's see if we can kind of go a little deeper in this as opposed to just talking about what happened here. They have that saying that says, great men or great minds think about ideas, average minds talk about events, small minds talk about people. So we're not here to be small minded. So we ain't here to talk about individual people that much. We're not here to be average so we're not going to just talk about the event that much. Instead, we're going to talk about the concepts behind the event, the concepts that drive the people. So genocide is the word for today, boys and girls. So let me give you the definition of genocide. And I want you to give me a yes or no to see if this defines the crack cocaine epidemic, the mass incarceration epidemic, the undereducation, the miseducation of black men and black women epidemic, the economic crisis, and other epidemics that have been put in your community. Let me read this. Genocide is the deliberate killing of a large number of people from a particular nation or ethnic group with the aim of destroying that nation or group. The deliberate killing of a large number of people from a particular nation or ethnic group with the aim of destroying that nation or group. So, with that said, do you think that mass incarceration and the crack cocaine era defines or qualifies as genocide? Give me a yes or no. Do you think that the word genocide will be accurate to describe the thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of black men, black women, and now even black children that are dying as a result of violence in our cities all across this country? Give me a yes or no. Do you think that we qualify if they were giving out genocide blue checks? Do you think that we will qualify for a blue check under the term genocide? What do y'all think? And so when you look at things like causes of death, I don't know if y'all know this, but if you look up causes of death for black males, I believe we're the only group where our cause of death includes homicide. Did you know that? Did you know that? Did you know that we're the only? I believe we're the only group. It doesn't. That's not. It does. It's not a leading cause of death for white women. It's not a leading cause of death for white men. It's not a leading cause of death for black women. In fact, let me pull this up. Let me show you guys this. I'm looking. This is according to the Centers for Disease Control. Now, I need to kind of talk about this because the thing is that you're used to watching your babies die. You're used to watching your young soldiers go to heaven early. So look at this. You can't read it, but I'm gonna read it to you. The top causes of death for black men: number one, heart disease; number two, cancer; number three, a shout out to Kango Kid who just died of colon cancer this week. Number three is unintentional injuries. Number four, homicide. There's nobody else who has homicide in the top 10. For black men, homicide's number four. And the thing about it is that when people try to politicize the death of black people, They always want to make it into something stupid, like they getting killed by all these Trump supporters. Well, I'm not saying that the Trump supporters are wonderful people. I don't know if they are. I don't care. I know a lot of people who are Trump supporters who they don't mess with me. I don't mess with them. But I don't know of any black men who've been killed by Trump supporters. But I know a whole lot of brothers been stabbed and shot in the hood. I know a whole lot of brothers have been killed for other reasons. So what I'm sitting there trying to say is, am I the only person who sees the elephant in the room? Like, are we really trying to do a straight Stevie Wonder and not see the elephant in the room? There's a death culture that is haunting your community. It is a death spirit. I mean, just to get metaphysical with you, if I listen to the rap, I mean, I listen to the music, man, and it's good. I mean, the talent's great, but it's the same damn playbook. It's the same playbook. It's like I watch the video and I see, a guy rapping with a couple big chains around his neck. He's sitting in a Bentley or something, something flashy. He's got a whole bunch of cash all around him. Maybe there's some statement about weapons or women, right? You got women, weapons, cash money, material objects, and drugs. And drugs. And I'm not making fun of anybody for doing this, right? I'm not sitting here criticizing these young guys. They don't know better, right? They were raised in this. They don't know. They don't really know. But we know. You know. And it's the same playbook. It's the same formula. And what makes me feel sad for this brother is, you know, I feel like he was trying to do what he knew in terms of trying to do better, trying to, get into a space where he wouldn't have to deal with all that. Seriously, I mean, he went to jail, got out, the cops were following him around, they pulled him over. How many y'all, can you think about this? He got pulled over, Drakeo the Ruler, that's what we're talking about. This brother got pulled over while he was riding in an Uber and I think he got arrested by the cop while he was in an Uber. Who gets pulled over and arrested while you're in an Uber, while you're a passenger in an Uber? They pulled over the Uber driver because he had tinted windows and they arrested him in front of his son. That's some traumatic stuff, right? And I think that the previous investigation involved like raiding the studio and finding some weapons and some charges on murder and everything else. So I'm not here to talk about that or speculate that. But what I'm talking about, Draco is Draco. Okay, thank you. I said Drakeo because it's spelled like Drake with an E, but maybe it's Draco. My bad. Sorry, I ain't gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. I did not listen to his music before today, but I checked it out and I pronounce it Draco or Drakeo, but it's Draco the Ruler. My apologies. So here's the point though. It bothers me that this is the norm now for black people. Like this is the fucking norm, man. It ain't supposed to be like this. It ain't supposed to be like this. And at some point, it seems to me that we have to do something as black people. I'm sick and tired of these damn Democrats and Republicans. I'm sick of it. I'm not listening. Stop with that Black Lives Matter shit. If Black Lives mattered, then you would act like Black Lives mattered. If Black Lives mattered, you would stop all the homicides in the hood. If Black Lives mattered, you wouldn't be dealing with the pandemic by trying to get everybody to get some government sanctioned big pharma jab. Instead, you'd be out here talking to people about the leading causes of death. You'd be doing some preventative maintenance. You would keep people from getting killed. You would understand a simple fact by the CDC that said that the 95% of the people who died from the virus, 95% had an average of like four comorbidities. So you wouldn't just be doing this sort of reactive maintenance by saying, "Oh, well, go get this shot with your obese ass. Keep eating them cheeseburgers and keep on drinking liquor and doing all the stuff that's killing you." No, you would say, "How about you take care of your immune system because your immune system is the best protection you've got, because all the studies are showing now, this is beyond debate at this point, so don't even debate me about this. All the studies are showing that getting that jab ain't protecting you from catching nothing. All it's doing is it is minimizing the probability that you're going to go to the hospital or that you're going to die. But ain't nobody done any long-term research to determine what that's going to do to your body 5 or 10 years from now. Nobody knows that. No one knows that. So I'm sick and tired of hearing people talk about Black Lives Matter when you know for damn well Black lives don't matter. Because if Black Lives Matter, you would be talking about all those poor babies being shot up in the hood every single day. If Black Lives Matter, you'll be encouraging people to eat healthy and exercise so you don't get obese, so you don't get diabetes and all these other comorbidities that are killing you. You wouldn't be having Lizzo's fat ass walking around in a damn thong telling black women to twerk and eat fried chicken, twerk while you're eating some chicken and waffles as some way to be body positive. You would be telling them that that's body positivity. You would say, no, we don't hate her, but we don't want everybody thinking that an obese person is as healthy as a person who is not obese. So the point of the matter here is this. Look, I'm not here to talk about or speculate on how this brother died. I'm just really here talking about the fact that I just think it's sad. I think at some point, my hope is that we're gonna kind of take this seriously. I talk about it only because I'm hoping that at some point as a community, we're going to gain enough insight and thoughtfulness about our own existence that we are going to take this issue by the horns. My hope is that we are going to lead the charge to take on these record labels that are monetizing Black death, that we are going to challenge the culture and say, no, we don't want our men and women going into an industry that loves to see Black people die. I mean, sure, for sure, the white man plays a big part in this. For sure, the industry is responsible for a lot of this. For sure, there are other factors out there that are doing sinister things to Black people. But the biggest predator of Black people is Black people. Like, we are our own greatest enemy in many cases. We are our own greatest predator. And I think that the idea that we can't even say that really shows how they trained you to not take any sort of responsibility for your personal and collective outcome. I mean, I don't know. I don't know who stabbed this brother, but I bet it wasn't. I bet it wasn't a Klansman. I bet it wasn't a cop. I bet it wasn't, a Trump supporter. I'm not saying that the Trump supporter won't stab you. I'm not saying a cop won't do it. We know cops will kill you, right? We know this, right? But when I'm seeing all these brothers going down, I'm not seeing them going down from people in other communities. So I would say at the end of the day, as Black people, you know, we've got to kind of think about this. So I want you to think about this also from a spiritual and a metaphysical level. If I've got music out here, if I'm participating in the industry where all they do, the rap music formula, unfortunately, is so predictable, it's ridiculous. Every video you're gonna see the same stuff. You're gonna hear lyrics or see a visual that involves something involving sex, right? Something, I like the whole the way she deep throat, or I wanna, she got a booty on her, whatever, right? Like just whatever it is, right? That, excuse my French, but y'all know what it is. I'm not. I'm talking to grown-ups here. Hopefully your children didn't get offended by that. I apologize if they did. You're gonna see some jewelry indicating a false image of prosperity, which having jewels don't mean nothing. It means Jake the jeweler loaned you some jewelry to shoot your video, but chances are you're not doing that well financially. You're gonna see maybe some money being thrown around, which wealthy people don't throw their money around. They put their money in an investment account. They build their wealth. They don't just throw it up in the air and stuff like that. You're gonna see something related to drugs and liquor, because they want the Black man to be as high and drunk as possible, because that's what makes you an easy target, right? A man who's high and drunk is not typically going to be alert. He's not going to know when his enemies are coming. He's not going to know how to go to battle. He's not going to know how to defend himself. He's not going to know how to defend his family because he's going to be too high and drunk. He's high drunk. I've never in my life ever felt threatened by a man by a wino on the corner. I never in my life ever felt like concerned that a crackhead was going to outsmart me. Jussie Smollett was on dope, and you saw Jussie Smollett came up with that stupid plan to pretend like he went out at 2 o'clock in the morning to get a Subway sandwich and got robbed by two white Trump supporters who happen to be his two very very dark skinned friends. Right? Those are crackhead stories. Like that's a crackhead narrative. Like that's a crackhead plan. Like crackheads do that. Like they think that they're smart, but they think that what they said was brilliant, but it's really like the weirdest, craziest shit you've ever heard. Right? Seriously, like so that's the thing. That's why when you talk about saying no to drugs, I encourage every black man in here to understand when you are messing around with a lot of drugs and a lot of liquor, you're not even a fraction of the man you could be. You're not. You're not. People ain't gonna respect you. Your kids are not gonna look up to you. Your woman thinks your breath stinks. Like you're not able to process things. You can't determine where the threats are coming from. You don't know how to make a plan. You can't accomplish anything. You can't do anything. So a drug user is a slave. A drug user is a slave to the drug. And so when they said to whoever runs the hip hop music industry, when the CIA sat down with them, they said, we need you to market drug addiction to young black men because when young black men get focused, they become a problem. When young black men become focused, that's where we get the next Malcolm X. We don't want another Malcolm X. When young black men, because when he was Detroit Red, he was smart, but he was unfocused. But when he became Malcolm X, he took all that Detroit Red energy and he became something amazing. So they say, look, we need black men to be high and drunk. We need them to not be aware of what's going on. We need them to be as unconscious as possible. So we need to promote this in the music. And I can really keep going down the list. So pretty much that's why if you watch a hip hop music video, I want y'all, everybody in here, some of y'all stop listening to the music, some of y'all ain't paying attention to the culture. I pay very close attention to the culture, especially since I went on shows like Breakfast Club and all that. I like to be aware of my surroundings. So every time I knew an artist was gonna be in the Breakfast Club, I would study that artist. Just the same way I studied books in graduate school. So I would listen to the music, I would read their bio, I would look at who their parents were, I would look at what city they from, I would read about their beefs, I would read news articles going back 5 years about that person. I knew every single thing about every ignorant motherfucker that I ran into at the Breakfast Club. I would just pretend like I didn't know nothing. Because that's the thing. G's move in silence. If you really got a plan, you don't tell everybody what your plan is. And one of the things I can tell you is if you go to the internet and you really check out some of the music that's coming out, some of what they're promoting, and some of what they're doing to your young men, you'll be really concerned because there is absolutely no way when I see some of the brothers and the culture that they're being dropped into, I keep thinking to myself, there's no way that you can be dropped in a bowl of death and expect to live a prosperous life. Let me say that again. There's no way you can expect to live a prosperous life when you've been dropped literally into a bowl of death. Hip hop, unfortunately, not all of it, but a lot of it, has unfortunately and tragically become death music. It's like the Grim Reaper on the track. It's like the Grim Reaper on wax. You know what I mean? Like literally the Grim Reaper. You might as well imagine the Grim Reaper sitting up on stage as the DJ and he's playing death music to black people because you've been hit by a genocide that has been occurring for the last 30 or 40 years. And I'm talking about it because I'm hoping that there's somebody out there that can hear this. And I know that people get offended when we talk about it. I know that it upsets some people because they want to just believe it's all fun and it's just entertainment. But when you see people getting shot over something they said on a record, then it ain't entertainment. It's not entertainment. It's literally like a demon curse. And what's really sad is that a lot of guys will become artists and they'll start making money and they'll really think that they're successful. Like they'll really feel like, look, mama, I made it. And I don't blame them. When you're young, sometimes you think things are something other than what they actually are. So you get there, you start making the money, you start shining, you start really feeling like, hey, I'm on top. So pay attention now. Pay attention. This is how they run the game on y'all. So then that guy will go to an elementary school and all the little black boys will be like, man, I want to be like him one day because look, he's doing well. And they'll say, son, if you work hard, you could be just like me one day when you grow up, right? And I get it. I totally get it. But then next thing you know, they find out that there's a darker side to this, and what's really happening in hip hop, in my view, is A lot of times, I think a lot of the guys end up making a deal with the devil. And the thing about making a deal with the devil is that you can really think you're doing well. You think you're on top when really you're about to hit the bottom. And I mean, one minute you shining, you got the women, you got the money, you have every single thing that you have been led to believe is an indicator of success. You got the money, you got the women, you got the jewels, you got the cars, you got the clout, you got all that stuff. But one thing somebody never told you about that is the greatest indicator of success is this thing called peace of mind. Peace of mind. And some of the OG rappers understand this. Some of the OG rappers actually get this now because they lived through the Tupac era, right? One guy who actually gets it, in my opinion, is a guy named Snoop Dogg. Snoop Dogg gets it. Snoop Dogg was about to perform at this concert, with this brother that just got killed. And when the whole incident went down, Snoop canceled. Snoop was like, I'm not coming. I can't make it. I won't be there. I'm sorry. Right. And I believe that the reason Snoop canceled is because Snoop has a long memory. Snoop remembers, just the stress of almost getting life in prison. Remember, murder was the case that they gave me. Anybody remember that? When Snoop was literally sitting, on trial and about to go to prison for the rest of his life, and he said I was sitting on the stand and my heart started beating like I had been smoking crack all day. Do you remember that? And he didn't want to go back to that. He's had a lot of friends that have died. He's got a tremendous amount of trauma. He's come close to death. So I think that a lot of the older guys, I really hope that they will talk to the younger guys to kind of say, look, man, this ain't it. This ain't it. That there's more to success for a black man than just money and women and all the weed you can smoke and all the liquor you can drink and partying all the time. There's responsibilities that come with being a man. There's challenges that come with being a man, but there's also peace of mind that matters tremendously for a man. And I don't know if anybody's really telling that to all these guys, and I really hope that they do, unless they want to just see black men continuously die by the thousands, for the next 30 or 40 years. It's up to you to decide if you want to take control of your own fate or not. I believe that as men, we have to take this bull by the horns. We have to be the commanders of our own community. We have to be the ones who decide when it's going to stop. And I can tell you, as a black man, I've decided that I'm not standing for none of this shit. You will not hear me endorsing any of this nonsense. I'm not going to support ignorance. I'm just not going to do it. And so here's the thing. Um, you know, it's you had young Dolph they got killed, and some other people got killed and stuff related to young Dolph and all that. And it just kind of makes me sad. I understand the logistics of it though. I mean, I think hip hop a lot of the hip hop music industry was a money laundering operation for the drug game. So it all started when the CIA dropped all that crack in the black community, and they started letting the Colombians come in and make drug deals with black men. And what happens is that when they would make the big drug bust, they didn't go and get the Colombian cartels. They went and got the black men in the hood because it solved two problems. One, you were kind of given the appearance of getting drugs off the street, even though you really wasn't. And then two, you were also getting rid of the black male who has been a nuisance in the mind of white supremacy for a very long time. If you read books like Black Labor, White Wealth by Dr. Claude Anderson, he explains how for hundreds of years, black men were seen as a scary threat. That's why they even reshaped immigration policy around 1850 or so, when black people were one third of the country. They said, we got too many Negroes in this country. We need to change our immigration policy and let in as many white people as possible, and eventually Asian and Hispanic people, so that we can dilute the percentage of black people in this country. So the black men have always been under an extermination mandate for about the last 250, 300 years. Like they've always had a bullseye on your forehead from the time before you're born. Margaret Sanger talked about that with Planned Parenthood. Just abort these black boys before they're even born, so they never get a chance to grow up into men. And then if they do get a chance to be born, then we're going to make it as hard for them as possible. Make sure they get no education at all. To train them to be good slaves. We're going to train them just like we train pet monkeys or pet gorillas. We're going to train them to either be loyal servants, or we're going to have to shoot them. Either one. Either you become a good servant, You know, which means might be maybe an entertainer, or you become a athlete, or you become a good employee. And if you can't do any of those things, then we will either shoot you or put you in jail. One of the two. And even when we shoot you and put you in jail, capitalism has it on lock so well that they still gonna make money off you no matter which track you take. If you become an entertainer or athlete, or you go to the corporate plantation, they making money off you. You drill, you shooting jump shots, they making money off you. You out here rapping and telling jokes, they making money off you. You go to prison, they making money off you. They kill your black ass early, they making money off you. Right. So either way, no matter what, you are part of this capitalist machine. They have a role for you. They gonna get their money regardless. So in the only way, in my view, for black men to be able to break away from any of this is, one, you must have awareness of how the system works. Just like playing football. If you want to defeat the defense, you got to break the defense down and understand where the defensive backs are located, where how the linebackers move, what the defensive line is doing, where the weak spots are. You got to understand and break down the defense. You can't do that if you're high and drunk all the time, and if you're determined to be ignorant. You just can't. It's just not possible. You're too busy being high. You can't. You ain't got time to strategize. You ain't strategizing for shit except how to keep getting high. And then after that, you have to have the courage to execute. You got to have the courage to get off the grid. You got to have the courage to say, no, thank you. I'm not participating in that. You got to have the courage to say no when everybody else is saying yes. If you are a sheep, you will be led to slaughter like all the other sheep. So the black man, in order to survive, must be thoughtful. He must be a leader, not a follower. He must be strategic, and he must be aware of how this whole system works, because they planned the system hundreds of years before you were born, and you're born right into it. So that's what I see when I see all these rappers dying. I see a society that is very used to watching black men die. I see a society where I could tell you that 100 black men got killed in Chicago last month, and you don't even blink an eye. But if I tell you 10 white women got killed, the whole country's mourning and talking about it and passing legislation to figure out how to stop the trend of white women being killed. Seriously, that's what you see. That's the country you live in. That's how things work, right? So the only people that are going to ever protect black people are going to have to be black people. But because so many black people are so caught up in trying to fit in, trying to get favors from the master, trying to get a good job working for white folks, trying to get on TV, trying to maintain the good graces of whoever they think their bosses are, then nothing ever happens. Your politicians ain't doing nothing. Your leaders are fake. Your community's scared, and everybody's just dancing to the beat of the next rapper who's going to die by next Tuesday. And that's what you're seeing. That's what you're seeing. You have a community where death culture has been spread to the point where your children are just born into such a low vibrational frequency that their ability to really rise out of that is almost non-existent. So you got to get on a new track. You got to get on a new grid. I encourage you to unplug. You got to unplug from all of that. You know, I know in my world, I try my best to just say, no, I'm not going along with some of this stuff. This is just stupid. I'm not participating. And I know that it makes me not fit in sometimes. I know sometimes I know I got a lot of people that get mad at me. They think I'm a mean person. I'm not a mean person. I'm a very nice person. But I know bullshit when I see it. And I don't care how many people are going along with it. It's just, if it's stupid, it's stupid. So that's all. Those are my thoughts on this issue. I'm going to stop talking about it. RIP to the brother, by the way. RIP. We started off talking about this brother named Draco the Ruler. I checked out his music. It's very good. He's very talented, and he died too young, 28 years old. It's too young for anybody to go. And, what's unfortunate about it is, to be honest with you, there will be another rapper that will probably be dead within the next 3 or 4 days. Like, that's at the rate that black men are dying in hip hop. It'll probably be maybe between 4 and 8 days before another rapper is killed, because Black Death has become that predictable, that you can almost time it to your watch. So let's see if we can do better. If we don't stand up, then nobody will. Black lives don't matter to anyone until they matter to you. So do me a favor, please hit the thumbs up button. Thumbs up, share, subscribe if you haven't done it yet. Also, this week we're doing stock market investing class. If you want to learn about the stock market, you can go to boycewatkins.com or get a Black Wealth calendar for 2022, things like that. We're into Black Wealth. I believe that Black Wealth is Black Power. Black Wealth goes beyond having shiny jewels and cars and all that. It's really about security and peace of mind. So I can show you some of that stuff. So feel free to go take a look at boycewatkins.com. There's a lot of resources there. Love you guys. Have a good day. And I'm sorry if I brought you down a little bit. I apologize for that. I'll try to think of something a little more uplifting to talk about, but it is what it is. So RIP to Draco, and much respect to all the people in LA and the West Coast who support the platform. I love you too. All right, guys, out of here. Have a good one. Talk to you soon.